Hey y'all, this is Driver. So we are back on ATS. We're going to be running load, but before we start with the load and details on that kind of stuff, I do want to apologize. I haven't been able to put anything out for the past week. Been a lot of stuff going on around here, and as much as I love putting out videos for Truck Sim and other games, real life comes first. So I apologize for that. And also on another note, for about the next week, it's going to be hit and miss if I can get any videos up. It's just going to kind of depend. We got some other things going on, but starting sometime next month, probably toward the end of the week, I should be able to at least start kicking a lot more videos, hopefully, for you guys. So I did want to let you guys know of that. So anyways, let's get on to what we got here for the load. So for day, we've got a wheel loader. We're still in Bozeman, Montana. Ugh, English. And we're going to cruise out to Grangerville, Idaho. So this is just a regular size load. Nothing crazy. It's not a real long run. I wrote it down. Where did I put it? What's the route advisor here? Let's see. We got a 387-mile run. It's the shortest thing I could find for us. So, get my mirrors back up. Yeah, we're gonna cruise with that. So, I went ahead and grabbed some fuel while I was on my way over here to pick this load up, and we're just gonna go and get rolling. It's been a little bit since I've been on here. The last time I was on here was the last video, so hope I'm not too far out of practice. So let's see. Good. Yeah, I hope everybody's been doing well. It's just been real busy around here. Just some quick little notes. As most of y'all know, I moved back home to help my mom out, and her washing machine decided to hit the frying pan, so to speak. So we've been trying to get that sorted out, and we ended up going over the other day. Finally, we ended up going over to hardware store, went to Lowe's, if you know what Lowe's is here in the U.S. And they have some sales going on for the upcoming holiday for Labor Day. So we was able to pick up a washer at a good deal and everything. But because the washer's been out, I've been having to run with my mom to laundromat, do laundry here and there, and still, trying to help her doing things around the house. By the time I get on, at night to play games a little bit with some friends, I'm usually pretty tired, and I don't want to be all groggy doing a video and stuff. Um, so yeah, there's just all that going on. And then my mom's brother's not doing very well. He hasn't been doing very well for several years, but it seems like he's getting worse. A little background medical with him. He had some kind of a heart surgery back about 4 years ago, I think it was. Might be longer than that. I can't really remember exactly when. But when they did that surgery, they punctured a hole in his lung, and has now created breathing problems for him. And he's just gotten worse and worse over the years. So, our cruise there, about 75. All right. Yeah, we just got a lot of things going on. My mom is, I had to help her get a ticket booked and everything. And I've got to help her get some other stuff taken care of around here before she takes off. She flies out next week to go spend some time with her brother, so that's why I'm not going to be really available. She's got a lot of things she needs me to do for her, so which I'm going to help her out with. So anyhow, so today, kind of continuing on with stories and whatnot. Today's not really going to be a story. In one of my last videos, I did an oversized load, and I was talking about pilot cars. And a friend of mine that he commented, AK, also known as Aiden, he was commenting about licensing and stuff like that. I know that Kiwi was also asking as well. So I know I talked about getting permits and stuff like that for doing oversized loads, but never really got into the subject of how to get your commercial license. So if I can get over here, come on, car, get over. So everywhere it's going to be different. I live in the United States. I've had my CDL for 21 years. So the way that I obtained my CDL and the way that it's currently available now is going to be a little different. And I'm gonna have to watch this traffic, guys. So, no matter what you want to do as far as getting your commercial license, if you're wanting to get one here in the United States, any way you slice it, you are going to have to go and get do your written test, just like when you got your regular driver's license to drive a car or ride a motorcycle, any of that kind of stuff. You just got to, study the book and do the written test there at your local license office. Here it's DMV here where I live in Florida. In Texas, actually the same way, but I know up north they call them the BMI or the BMV. Michigan's state Secretary of State. So it just kind of varies upon where you're at. I don't remember what I paid for the license fee, and I was going to look this stuff up, but I decided that it wasn't going to be that relevant in what the cost is, because every state's going to be different on their prices. So I do know that there's a fee for taking your test to get your permit and all that good stuff. And so that you do that, there's really no time length that you have to have your permit. I mean, you could almost have your permit for, say, a day or so, or even a week, and then go and take your driving test. But this is where it gets fun. So for everybody that's gotten a driver's license, which I'm sure is the majority of us, you remember that, when you went and got your driver's license, you was probably, I don't know, 16, 17 years old, probably in high school. And when you went to go do your driving test, you probably used mom or dad's car. If you didn't use mom or dad's car, it might have been, big brother, big sister's car, or another family member. And on rare cases, it might have been a friend's car. And whoever you borrowed the car from, obviously is going to have to go with you, because as a permittee, you still have to have the passenger with you. So you would take that car up there. So it's the same thing in a commercial truck, but most people don't have a commercial vehicle that they can get their hands on. Sometimes if you're lucky and say, I worked for a company, but they wouldn't let me do it. They wouldn't let me do this at all. But I worked for a company, and I was currently trying to obtain my CDL at the same time while I was working for them. And they had trucks there. And if they would have gave me permission, I could have used one of their trucks for my driving test. But I was not able to do that. Some companies you can do that. I do know friends that have done that in the past. The other way to take your driving test would be to go to a truck rent me place. Now some people think that you can go over to, say, like Penske, Ryder, a lot of the big rental companies that rent trucks out, but I've never tried doing that. I don't know if they would let you do that or not. So the way I did mine was I went to it was called a Rent Me CDL truck is actually what it was called. And let's see if we can get past these people here. So for, how much was it? I want to say I paid $250. Actually, my dad paid $250. Me and him had a long chat about whether or not I really wanted to be a truck driver, and if I was going to at least do it for a long time. And he loaned me the money, and then later on he didn't let me repay it. He told me just not worry about it. But it ended up being $250. And what it was a company that had a little day cab truck and a 28-foot trailer. It was an automatic truck. It was an old truck too. It was an old GMC day cab. And the way their program worked was you paid the $250. It was a flat fee, and they had an instructor, and he would go out with you for your practicing. And he would go with you. He would have you come back every day, of his work days. I think it was like 6 days a week, and you could practice some more. And it was usually for about a couple hours a day. Usually when you went out there to do your practice, there might be 4, 5, 6 other people there. And he would have you come back each day until he was pretty sure that you were ready to take the driving test. He would go over everything that they would have you do, so that way you were in sync with what they were going to want you to do. my first day, I had been driving a truck for over 6 months, and I'd been driving larger than what they had. This was a single axle, so it just had the one axle in the back truck, and it was a single axle little 28-footer trailer. What I'd been driving was a tandem axle, so it had the two axles in the back plus a 53-foot trailer. So I was used to pulling something way bigger anyhow. Um, so I went up there for my first day, and he takes two guys at a time. There's only enough room for three people in a day cab, and the other guy he practiced and did his thing, and he practiced for about an hour and a half, and he actually was at his nerves end. He was scared, shaken, nervous as could be, and the instructor said, "Okay, let's swap guys because we don't want to put you in harm. I don't want you to be overdone." So me and the guy switched, and I started driving. I drove for 30 minutes, and he told me, he said, "All right, well, head back to the parking lot where everybody else is at." And first, I'm starting to get kind of irritated because I want my seat time. I paid for it, right? Well, we get back over there, and he has me do a couple of parking tests, and he goes, "All right," he goes, "For you, sir," he goes, "I want you to be here at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning for your driving test." He was that confident with me that I could do my driving test. So that's how I got mine done. Um, so all in all, I might have had, we'll say, $300 racked up into it. That doesn't include, traveling, back and forth across town to do everything. So I did all that. Um, the more popular way around here, and I think this is kind of what they're going for in the U.S. here, is they want you to go to a truck driving school. And truck driving schools vary in cost. I really haven't kept up with them. There's a lot of large companies that will pay for the truck driving school or have their own truck driving school that you can attend and get your CDL that way. So, there's that option. But those companies typically lock you in a 1 to 2 year contract, and your pay is a lot less. So to give you an example, so in the U.S., us truck drivers, we are paid by the mile. So my first truck driving job over the road, I was making 34 cents a mile, if I remember right. It might have been 32. A friend of mine, he had done the truck driving school through a large trucking company. I'm not going to name the company, but he did their program where they put him through their own school, paid for everything, put him in a hotel the whole time, all that stuff until he got his license. After he obtained his license, he was locked in a 2-year contract to work for them at 25 cents a mile. So I was making at least 7 cents. I was either making 7 or 9 cents more than he was. And the only difference was that I had about 6 months of local driving experience on him compared to other. So there's that way to go, because the nice thing about doing that is you don't pay for your license, your commercial license, up front at least, but you kind of pay for it in the long run by the reduced rate. So, and if for any reason that you decide that you don't want to work for that company anymore, you may have been mistreated or found a better opportunity, what they'll do is what's this guy here? What they'll do is they'll say, okay, well, you didn't fulfill your contract, and part of your contract was for your license, so we're gonna take that out of your last check, or you're gonna owe us X amount of money. So, it's kind of up to you what you do at that point. I have heard of the trucking schools being around $5,000 to get your commercial license, and to me that's kind of steep, because in my personal opinion, after 21 years of trucking, I don't see the benefits of driving anymore. I mean, commercially, I just don't see the money benefits anymore. I felt like over the years I was making less money. You're away from home, especially over the road. Most of these companies expect you to be on the road for 2 to 4 weeks at a time. And during that time you're on the road, I mean, you're away from your family, your friends. the things you enjoy in life. And then when you do get to go home, you get 2 to 4 days off, and then you're right back out on the road. I mean, it it's not much of a life, in my opinion. But at the same time, if you do that kind of a work and get your experience built up, then you could get a local job, which typically pays better. Sometimes it's a pay cut, but you're home. You're home every night. You might get the weekend off, or at least a couple days somewhere off, whether it's on a Saturday or not. So yeah, there's all that. And that's just for getting your license. People doing here. I gotta turn. Go. So that's just to get the commercial license. Pay is based on experience, which makes a whole lot of sense. And then also there are endorsements. So if you have a regular driver's license, for those of you that ride a motorcycle, how you have the motorcycle endorsement to ride your bike. So in CDL, there are endorsements. The most common endorsements, well, there's 4 endorsements. I really wouldn't call them most common, but you hear a lot about hazmat. Hazmat's a pretty popular one. Hazmat requires you to take a written test. You have to be fingerprinted. You have to go through, the TSA more or less through that. It's similar to through the TSA, I guess. But you got to do fingerprinting. You got to take a written test. You got to pass that written test. There's no driving test, and it's kind of pricey. The last time I looked into it, it was about $60. And yes, I've had one. I don't currently have one. And the reason why is because every 4 years your hazmat expires, and you have to go retake the written test all over again, pay the fee for that, the process and all that, and pay for the fingerprinting and do all that. And that's every 4 years. So if you're not using hazmat, you don't work for somebody that uses hazmat, it's not worth it to get your hazmat. Another one that goes in conjunction with it is your tanker endorsement. Obviously, if you're pulling tanker, you're more than likely hauling fuel or something hazardous. So they've actually made it to where, like in Florida, if you have a tanker endorsement, you have the letter T on your license for your endorsements. If you have your hazmat, you'd have the letter H for your hazmat endorsement. But if you have both of those endorsements, they just put X on there because it's a common 2 to have together. So the tanker endorsement is also a written test that you have to take. And that's all you have to do. There's nothing else to it. Just you take a written test, and as long as you pass it, you're good to go. You only have to do that one time the whole time you own your commercial license. So it's just a hazmat deal. You have to renew every 4 years and retake the test and repay for it. Another endorsement is for doubles and triples for the guys that are pulling 2 and 3 trailers. It's the same thing as the tanker endorsement. It's a one-time test and payment, and that is on your license for life as well. And I don't remember what letter they put on there for doubles and triples. I think it's just a D or something like that. And then the final endorsement, and the one I hope to never get, is a passenger endorsement. So passenger endorsement is what is required for any kind of passenger vehicle that is for commercial use. So think of it like a passenger van that a church would use, for example. That would require a passenger endorsement, a school bus or charter bus, things like that. I think it's for any vehicle that commercially carries more than 8 people, if I'm remembering correctly, but I could be wrong on that number. I really don't care to have a passenger endorsement. When I think of passenger endorsement, I think of, driving a school bus, and no thank you. I don't want to drive a school bus. I love kids, I just don't love them that much. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is with that. Like I said, it varies state to state here in the US. I don't know what you have to go through as far as like in Canada. I've actually never been to Canada. Still wouldn't mind going out there. Since COVID, I haven't really had the desire just because of all the rules and stuff that they've came up with. But it's still an area I'd like to at least visit and see. A lot of places I'd like to go to, but as far as other countries, guys, I don't know. If you got any info on that, more than welcome to throw it in the comments. Um, and all that good fun chunk. So let's see, still got a little ways to go. That's about all I really can tell you, I think, on the licensing stuff. Like I said, I've had mine for 21 years. I got mine in the summer of 2003. And I had already been driving for about 6 months or so. I only had my permit for probably a month or so. The company I drove for, they didn't do everything legal. So if they needed something done, I was actually a dock worker when I worked for them initially. And if they needed something like ran right now and they didn't have a driver, they would throw me a set of keys to a truck and say, here, go run this real fast. When they did that, I didn't go very far. It was usually like 10 or 15 miles at most. But still, I mean, I wasn't even properly licensed for it. And, being, young and dumb, we'll call it, I didn't want to lose my job because of not doing what I was told to do, so I just did it. To be 100% honest, if I was to go back down that road again, I would not have done that. But I did learn a lot. As a matter of fact, before I even really started driving out of the parking lot, I was, like I said, I was a dock worker. So I worked overnights, running a forklift, loading trucks and trailers all night. And part of the job was I had to move those trucks and trailers out of the docks. Now, in a parking lot at a commercial facility, there's really not, the CDL is not really required. It's preferred, but it's not really required. Especially a lot of small companies, they don't care. If you can get into a vehicle, you can drive a golf cart, they'll have you drive a truck running yard. They don't care. So most of my start was backing into dock doors, and that can be a trick of its own, is parking these semi trucks in parking spots and back them up to dock doors and things like that. They're not the easiest thing to park. This guy's gonna go 10 under. It's gonna be hard to pass this guy, I think. And with me, and I made the comment that I'm pretty much done with truck driving. I'm just burned out, guys. It's not that it's a horrible job. I feel that it could pay a whole lot better than what it does pay. My turn? Yeah, it's my turn right here. I feel like it could pay a whole lot better because you're gone for a long time. And a guy that I worked for years ago, he brought this point up to me that he goes, that from the time you leave the house or the company yard to the time you get back to the company yard, you're responsible for that truck, that trailer, the load, the whole time. You're gone. So even though you have your rest breaks where you're parking for the night and getting your 10 hours of sleep, you're still responsible. So in a way, you're still on the clock, And sorry, I had to get a drink on the straightaway. But he said that if you break it down for how many hours you're away from home, you're not making a whole lot of money because you're away from home. You're still technically on the job. So I think it should pay a lot better. And there's just a lot of the government regulations that's put a sour taste in my mouth with some of the stuff going on. But what's actually the worst of it all is how you're treated not only by these carriers, but also by the places you're picking up and delivering to. It's pretty sad that in the state of Washington here in the U.S., that the government in Washington, the state officials, had to implement a bill and have it passed through the Senate and all that garbage to give truck drivers access to use a bathroom while delivering or picking up a load while working. They have a bathroom there that's for all their employees, their customers, and everything else, but they refuse the truck drivers to use the bathroom. And That's just wrong, people. You know, when we live in a world like that, I mean, that's just wrong. And the sad part is that's happening all over this whole country, all over the U.S. I'm not sure about Canada, but I know in the U.S. it's a huge problem. So, you know, it's things like that that just puts a sour taste for me for trucking. And after 21 years, guys, I'm just ready for a change. You know, if you've been stuck behind in a cubicle for 20 years, you probably would love truck driving. Get out and see the open world, do something like this here, where you're just cruising around looking at the countryside. There's a lot of beautiful country to see, and to get paid to see it is nice. You know, I enjoyed it more when I was doing the hotshot stuff that I talked about several videos back, because I pulled campers with a pickup truck. When I delivered, I never had a return load, hardly ever. So after that, I was just a pickup truck cruising home or cruising back. And I could pull into places and stop at state parks. And, you know, I could go, ooh, this is my turn. Brakes, brakes, brakes. Sorry about that, folks. Paying attention instead of jabbering here. Yeah, I used to stop off in state parks and things like that and go sightsee. One of my favorite things that I did that I'd like to go back and do again was I stopped at Yellowstone National Park. And if I'd have known now, if I'd known then what I know now, I found out later on. I drove through there and just looked around. I spent a whole day just driving around, and I was thinking, okay, this is, you know, this is a big camping area. This is where all the tourists are. It's going to be expensive. I found out later on I could have got a cabin for like 20 bucks a night. I could have stayed out there a couple nights and really sunk it in. And that's what's nice about when you do that kind of work in the pickup truck, is that you're not really on a time crunch to get back. I mean, the sooner you get back, the sooner you get back to making more money, you know, to get that next load. But, you know, you have to take in the little things, you know, to keep you sane, if that makes sense. All right, so let's see where these guys want this. Let's see here. Straight ahead's pretty easy. You want me blindside? I'm not blindsiding today, folks. Okay. If you don't know what blindsiding means, it is where you're backing up to your right side instead of you're backing up to your opposite side of your vehicle. So I sit on the driver's side. Here in the U.S., we drive on this side. Backing up to your right is called your blind side. It's harder to see. There's a load. See how we did on that one. All right, 33 grand in our pocket. Getting close to leveling again. Not that I need a level or anything, but so yeah. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed what I had to tell you. I know it wasn't nothing too exciting. Hit my buttons. It was that loud over there. It's gonna give you all a nice view of this, but lordy. What I'm gonna do, just because I know that's got to be loud, we're gonna cut the volume down real fast, so you guys can actually hear me. I might have been too much, but a little bit of sound back in there. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you riding along with me. I hope that was informational. I know people was curious about, you know, getting your actual commercial license. It's similar, but yet complex compared to other stuff, what you can get. And yeah, all that stuff. So anyhow, guys, I'm going to bail. It's time to go do a couple things around here, and I'll try to get back on here today or tomorrow and try to record another one for you. So y'all have a great day, and I'll catch you later. See ya.